This show contains adult humor and authentic, offensive gamer language. It is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. And if you find yourself aroused, don't forget to subscribe.
Happy Monday. You are listening and or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 95, and we are in patch 6.2.3. I am your Warlock host, Belle. This week, we're going to be talking about some Legion Alpha updates that hit with the latest build. Love is in the Air has begun. Tons of new minor glyphs have been added and much, much more, so make sure you guys stay right here. Welcome back. I did bring the Riders of Rohan with me. I did bring the Death Knight who slept through RBGs, which essentially is the reason he was booted from Team 1, Lycan.
Not only did I get slept through RBGs, but I fell asleep at my desk and I had a permanent line across my forehead for like a day. And I need to apologize to the RBG leader because that was just horrible. I wish I knew who that person was.
He's the worst leader we've ever had in the history of all the leaders of anything. He's worse than Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen.
I woke up, 4 hours later? Oh, it's bad. I woke up 4 hours later and I see Jimmy Banks going, "Dude, are you coming?" And I'm like completely, totally out of it. And yeah, next week. Tomorrow, actually.
You should be so. I had to text the teenagers, otherwise there's going to be door slamming happening. Well, we're glad that you are not sleeping through the show. We did also bring the shaman who's petitioned Blizzard for a Crocodile Dundee hat to be added in game. Huge bloke.
I would make love that so much. Like I even went out and got one especially, and I can't fit it on my Crocodile Dundee head because it's turned out to be a kid's one. I think all characters in the game should have a Crocodile Dundee hat and should all carry a big knife. And instead of pet battling, you should be able to have knife battles.
I want you to come to my house and narrate. I always joke that the two dogs are like Animal Kingdom when they fight with each other. And I'm like, I said the other day at dinner, I'm like, we need Bloke to come here and narrate this Animal Kingdom shit that happens in my kitchen.
I'll tell you what, when I come to visit, we'll record it and put it on YouTube so I can share it with the world.
That's legit. I'm happy about that. Well, we're glad you're here. Bloke is recovering from his surgery. We can't tell you what kind of surgery he had because, I mean, that's between him and his God. But...
I tell you what, though, I am impressed with the lift. Like,
and we've offended part of America. Apologize. Get your list out, like.
There it is.
I feel bad because I just molested Andre the Giant's poor face. Anyway.
If you guys are listening to this on iTunes and you haven't popped over to the YouTube, you really do. You miss a lot of fuckery. But we are glad that you are here, alive and well, with all your bits.
Thank you, comic.
Yeah, well, it's
good to be back.
That's a lot of stuff. So many jokes, so little time. I did also bring the Boomkin, who has wiped his ass over 250 times to date. Hots for shots.
Yeah, we just hit the 250 wipes on Mythic Archimond. So on the off nights that I don't raid, I make sure I eat Taco Bell so I can get used to wiping, like keep it up to date, you know.
Like, much information.
I can tell you that I would not even, after 20 wipes, I would be like, sorry guys, this just ain't happening.
Oh, trust me, it's hitting everyone. Like, it's getting to the point where as soon as someone messes up one thing that we've seen 250 times, we're all like, what are you doing? Like, it's getting bad, but it's still fun in the nature of progressing. Like, it's just the trial period.
Tons. That, if you're listening, I apologize that you have him on your team because that's probably why you guys are wiping. So
hey,
pretty much
only like 100 of those
because he keeps playing classes he doesn't understand. So you know,
yeah, you know, like
he's a good boomkin though. I can't even say anything about his boomkin. He's a good boomkin.
That's what I'm on. Is my boomkin.
I'm
terrible rogue.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it's okay,
we'll go with that.
I did also bring the monk who has graduated from casual to podcaster. Meet our newest addition to the Pwnecast podcast family, Gemma Banks.
And the crowd goes, whoa.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I know how to go through some initiations, meet you guys in RL, make sure I fit in with the guys, and
He called my husband a few times by some people.
made sure you need consent from the husband. Absolutely. Shout out to Dark. I appreciate it. And he's going to get mad if he ever heard that because he's going to say, no, you didn't actually call me, so now I have to actually make that
Yeah, you
call.
have to call him.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it, and looking for a lot more fun times.
Boy, he doesn't know what he's in for, does he, guys?
Nope.
Yeah, he has no idea what he signed up for. It's always my favorite when someone's new because they have no idea what they're in for.
Some
like
more
Hotel
international flair.
Well, we did need a Canadian, so that's definitely something that we did need.
Hey.
So, look at him now. He's serious with his pop. He's serious, guys. He's all in. So
I noticed he's got his lichen coffee, and he had his podcast glasses
I
before.
know,
Yeah,
the only thing he's missing is the new hair color, and he's pretty much all of us.
Wow.
Now we can see the
Yeah,
porn on your screen. So there's.
Now he's official. He's an official podcaster.
Midget donkey porn, really?
I know that's embarrassing. We talked about that the other day. I'm not even going to go into that conversation because it's not suitable for a Warcraft.
You and me will hook up later, Jim, all right?
So, wait, is one of you going to be the midget, or are you going to be acquiring the midgets?
Well, I don't think either of us could qualify for a midget when we
Valid.
stack up to like 3 of them. So
They could be the horse costume, the dual horse.
I took that to a whole different place. Just
yeah.
so we're clear.
Kings are telling the sexy stud?
Yeah.
Oh,
Chugging
wow.
right along, we're going to move out of the bestiality conversation right into normal conversation. This week, so the Love is in the Air has begun. Make sure that you guys go and do your daily dungeon for the Crown Chemical Company and try your hand at the Love Rocket. Blizzard loves torturing people, and that's my favorite part of this game is you get to torture yourself on all 20 of your max levels to go in and do this bullshit to not get the mount. So
0.6% chance of getting the love rocket.
is that what the percent is?
Yeah.
man, this is a tough one.
0.66, I believe. But still, I mean, that's... Yeah. Even me as a mountain farmer, I'm like, oh, you know what, Blizzard? You can nearly go fuck yourself with that one. But I'm still having a red hot go at it for at least the first few days.
Well, I'm going to do it on all my tunes. Luckily, all my other 100s are healers, so I get a fast queue.
SQ, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely
But
want
you
that
know.
mount.
The offset is I don't know how to heal them because the only healer I play on a consistent basis is my monk. So if I'm on any of my other tunes, I'm just going to spam the one heal that I know, and that's going to have to be enough for them because that's pretty much all I got. Do any of you have it?
No, and that'll definitely be one I will not be running with Bloke.
I mean, I am going to have to
It's
agree.
personal loot, so it wouldn't...
It's like a joke in the guild too, because the guildies watch it and they're always like, "Oh, I'm going to do this mount run, but I'm not inviting anybody." And they always make sure that they make mention of the one time that Bloke stole the mount from and Dwight stole the mount from. It was like a circle, right? It was a pay it forward in
Right,
reverse.
The week after I did it, someone else did it to Miguel in Ottawa.
Nimrod's head,
Nimrod's
Yeah.
head. Yeah, see, the circle of life continues. Mount Farmers.
assholes, all of
Oh.
you, the whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has looked at this or saw the article that was posted, but the Bright Paw that was being sold for the Make-A-Wish Foundation through Blizzard, 100% of the proceeds did go to that. 1.7 million is what we made for that, which
Nice.
that's for kids, man. I'm all in. I'm super proud of this community. I know we got something for that, but I mean, really, you guys didn't have to spend that money, and I think it was solid of Blizzard to do 100% of the proceeds and not make any money off that. So I'm pretty happy with us as a community of gamers, and 1.7 million, that's definitely nothing to sneeze at for sure. So all good things. I would like 1.7 million. So if I win the lottery, I want you all to know that it's been a good run, and I'll see you in Hawaii or someplace
Hawaii.
like that. I want to be where the people are.
Oh, gee.
So the new Legion build, which is some of this conversation here, it did bring a lot of updates. We got to see a nice data mined video of the Fox mount, which is everything we hoped it would be. You get to ride the damn thing. I'm all in when it comes to riding foxes. No weird pun or anything insinuated there. I'm just throwing that out there. Our previous conversation. I'm just gonna say that we don't have to make this weird, guys. So
It's too late.
I know we don't have to get weird about it. But I did want to talk about some of these minor glyphs. So we do know that the major glyphs as we know them are going to be a thing of the past in Legion. So basically you're going to be able to glyph certain spells, which I think is pretty legit. I think that was good forward thinking on Blizzard's part. As frustrating as it might be for us to adapt to the change, I think being able to glyph certain spells, it makes sense to me. So I do appreciate that aspect. But some of these glyphs, which I'm actually going to go through some of them, these are the minor glyphs, which keep in mind all these minor glyphs are going to be cosmetic in nature, which this allows people to kind of customize their things and kind of make things a little bit different. So a couple of these to mention, the Death Knight, two of these ones for the Death Knight, like the Glyph of Cracked Ice, which gives the Path of Frost ability a new look, which is a little bit cracked, which is pretty cool, as well as the giving the Glyph of Dry Ice, which puts like an environment around the Path of Frost ability, which the Path of Frost was already legit in nature anyway, because when you're running on it, it kind of like ices, in my opinion, it ices before you, right? You're seeing the physical, icing as you're running, but it's nice that they're doing that. For the Druid, each time you shapeshift into cat form, your shapeshifted form will have a random hair color, which is fucking cool as shit. It's called the Glyph of the Feral Chameleon. I think that's pretty awesome.
They already have that in the game right now, but it's just...
Shut up.
My favorite, though, has got to be Glyph of Arachnophobia. And I love the way it says your dire beast ability calls on spiders more often. Why? Because everybody's afraid of spiders.
Some of these descriptions are funny. The Glyph of Storm, which is also the Druid, replaces your Hurricane spell with an Astral Storm. That makes a lot more sense to me, to be perfectly honest. I know that the Hurricane is pretty legit and Druids are about nature, so I totally understood the reason for that, but I think giving it an Astral Storm makes much more sense to a Druid, since that's... it's essentially where all the things come from. The Glyph of the Bullseye, which is the Hunter Glyph, your Hunter's Mark ability now places a bullseye on your target instead of the usual visual. I don't Hunter, so I don't really know what it is you see currently. What's the current visual?
It's like a whole bunch of little
Big-ass
arrows.
arrow.
It's like chevrons.
Oh, that's lame. Well, now you got a bullseye. That's pretty legit. Also, for the Hunter, your harpoon spell throws a trident rather than your current weapon, which is pretty cool. I don't know that it makes sense on a Hunter aspect, but...
Who cares? As long as it looks cool.
I agree. There's also a different one that allows your harpoon spell to throw a grappling hook rather than your current weapon, which is right up Australia's alley, I'm thinking. Is that something that...
Well, I think like grappling hooks belong to most ninjas. I mean... Most Australian people probably have a grappling hook to fend off the ruse, but I'm not sure. I don't own a grappling
When
hook.
Good Ruse Go Bad, is that the title of
Yeah, that's
the...
it. I mean, it's like, yeah. There was a whole different tangent my brain went there, but...
For the Hunter, there's also the Glyph of Valoon's Arrow, which allows your arcane shot to have take on a blue tint. Once again, I don't Hunter. I'm going to assume that that's cool. And the Glyph of Spark, your flare ability now drops a ball of sparks at the target location. I don't care what's going on in your life. A ball of sparks to me is just legit in any sense of the form, because that means some shit's going to get lit on fire, and I'm all about fire. So I think that's pretty cool.
I like the fact that none of them are game-changing. Like,
Right.
They're not... There's no benefit to them whatsoever other than cosmetic or sheer entertainment or stupidity value. Like, it's just a little modification for a cheap giggle. I reckon that's cool. That's
Hey, none of my giggles are cheap, okay?
Hey, man, I just give them away willy-nilly, much like most of
Because you're
them.
easy. That's
Three
why.
giggles to a good home.
Right.
That's it.
The Glyph of Headhunter, which is another hunter, you throw a javelin instead of a hatchet when you use hatchet toss. I don't know what that is about. Also, your freezing trap freezes creatures into a block of ice rather than spikes. That seems cool to me. I like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I do like that. I didn't have a problem with the current one. Like it mentioned, the arachnophobia. And then another one, which they really love the hunter. Hi, can you be any more interested in the hunter? The glyph of Nessingwary's nemesis. Your dire beast ability often calls for beasts victimized by the famed hunter. I'm not really sure what that really means as far as visuals go, because I haven't seen it.
I'm guessing it would be calling on any of the... Because you know how you had to do all the expedition quests for him, like back in Stranglethorn and then in Old Nagrand and then Shelzar Basin. Like, I would imagine that he's calling on, like, that calls on any of the elites that you had to kill for his quest.
Oh, okay.
I was totally gonna go with Nessingwary and the kinky.
Oh yeah, I went right back
The
to
kinky
the whole,
beasts.
right, bestiality
Speaking of
thing, the
kinky, those
victimizations.
ears are very kinky. Hots for shots.
I put them on when we
Hot
talk about
shots.
the foxes.
I just
God
want to
damn it.
reiterate for those that actually watch the show and don't listen, he is not gay. So I know that we all think differently, and once again, he is giving us another reason to think that way. But it is.
Just because he wears furry ears doesn't necessarily mean he's gay. He just likes to play dress-ups in weird costumes.
So weird. So moving
like
in.
cosplay, but every day.
It's not cosplay. It's weird. Also, for paladins, Glyph of Judgment by the Axe. Your judgment spell depicts an axe instead of a hammer. I've come to like the hammer in that specific instance, so...
But that's just stupid.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Paladins can't use axes. Why would they throw one?
I don't know.
And I don't know. And
Back to the drawing board with that one, Blues.
Yeah, and another one I don't like is like Glyph of the Queen. Your guardian of ancient kings now summons wrath of a queen. I don't even know what that means, but it just... I understand the...
Sounds like they're speaking to hots for shots in this glyph.
Well,
I don't know if that's...
That might be the one he uses on his palette, but...
Zinga!
I don't even have a palette.
Oh, I'm on my game. That was a good one. Do you need me to explain why it's funny, hots?
No, I get it.
Glyph of Pebbles reduces, this is for shamans, Glyph of Pebbles reduces the size of your earth elemental by 15%. Glyph of the Flickering reduces the size of your fire elemental by 15%. Glyph of the Spectral Raptor alters the appearance of your ghost wolf transformation, causing it to resemble a large spectral raptor. I'm fucking down for that. Although I know shamans are famous for their ghost wolf, but how nice is it to be able to shapeshift into a raptor, right?
I'm down with it.
Look, you're the shaman. I think you pretty much would be...
No, I don't know, man. I got mixed feelings on it. Like, I'm kind of attached to my ghost wolf. Like,
which I think what you were saying earlier, it's good that they're doing this as a glyph because it's giving you that choice. You're not necessarily stuck.
Yeah, you're not being forced into it. It's not a perma change that there's no way around. So if you don't like it, you don't have to keep it. And for me, that one personally, I wouldn't keep the raptors, but I like my ghost puppy. So.
For the warlock, the glyph of the Inquisitor's Eye, transform your Eye of Krillog into an Inquisitor's Eye. I'd have to look at this Inquisitor's Eye, and I'd have to see it live just to know. I don't use my eye. There's only certain situations I've used my eye for. One time when I was stuck in a hole in Gorgrond, and I tried to use my eye to get out of that hole in Gorgrond, and essentially had to have Ella come and pre-script me out of there, to which I fell in the same hole 10 minutes later and just didn't tell anybody, and both my Hearthstones were on cooldown, and I just sat in that damn hole until my Hearthstones were no longer on cooldown. There might have been alcohol involved.
Just a little bit.
I know, it was awful. Also for the warlock, Glyph of the Beholder's Eye transforms your Eye of Krillog into a beholder. That's kind of weird. That's really what we got? Are you fucking serious? That's what we...
Well, it's only two of them, though.
Yeah, take that, Affliction Locks. Oh, shit.
I'm going to just put my faith that there's going to be more coming our way, because that's shit. Literally, Hunter's got like 40 fucking minor glyphs this build. I'm over it.
Speaking of shit, I wonder if they're going to get a Whispering Eye.
I would love that if it was even called the Whispering Eye. I'm going to petition that. If you guys were on the Whispering Eye train, I'm going to need you. All of Siege of Orgrimmar, the Gaze of Arrogance, I called my Whispering Eye just because it was funny. And everybody's like, do you even know what that means? That's why it's funny, guys. Have a sense of humor. Glyph of the Blazing Savior for the warrior. The intercept leaves a trail of fire in its wake. If you're going to intercept, why not do it with some style? I can dig it. We all can dig it. I think that's pretty cool. I know that they're going to be adding new things along the way, so whatever. Hunters are the favorite. That's so unfair. I'm over it. Uh, Warcraft movie Funko Pops. Here's something to get bloke all in and up for
Oh, yeah.
pre-buying stuff. So Entertainment Weekly did get the pleasure of having an exclusive look at some of the new movie Funko Pops from the Toy Fair this year. Lothar and Garona are the first two that we did have images of. We did post those on Ponecast Facebook page. I was just told recently by someone who's going to be our new moderator for something, which we'll talk about that way later. Chaos did kindly let me know that they have released a couple other ones, which I'm assuming is Doratan and possibly Black Hand. I'm not sure. But these little Funko Pops, I know we're not on the bandwagon and we don't want to buy things before the movie because what if the movie sucks? However, it doesn't matter if the movie sucks. I still want the items because they're World of Warcraft items, basically, at this point, which is the reason I was happy about my little figurines. So, Bloke, I love you. Please don't rage at me. He's got a new podcast. Make sure you guys tune in. It's the Warcraft Movie Podcast.
It's the Warcraft movie merchandise before I've even seen the damn movie.com podcast. And Bill's going to be the first one on there with it.
But I only bought these figures because they're World of Warcraft figures. It's not because they're movie figures. It's because it's World of Warcraft memorabilia. So even if I hate the movie, I still like World of Warcraft, and those are still characters in World of Warcraft. So I'm not out any money like buying a ton of Overwatch shit before anybody ever played it. We didn't even know if it was going to be any good.
Not that would be a specific example of this situation prior or anything like that. I just want to put a disclaimer there. That's completely unrelated, different game.
Well,
Completely unrelated, he says, which is a lie.
these Funko Pops, they're not out yet, are they?
No.
I heard Australia's getting them 10 days before we are.
That's probably valid.
You mean just like the movie?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, you're such a dick.
Spoilers for you lot.
Man, he's such a dick. That's okay, though. Somebody said, well, why shouldn't they get it first? America always gets everything first. I wasn't talking about us getting it first either. My complaint wasn't that we're not getting it first. My complaint was that I think we should all get it at the same time. I wasn't trying to be first. I don't need to be first. I just want to be...
How convenient. I don't hear anyone in America ever saying that about any other movie release for anywhere else in the world.
But I don't like that we get stuff first. I would prefer that everybody get it equally at the same time. I think it's shit when one country gets it before the other.
It's only ever happened once before, and that was the slightly lesser atrocious Star Wars movies where it was a worldwide release.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like I don't understand why it's happening that the UK gets it earlier. But I mean, you get revenge. Like you're getting America gets all the toys and merchandise well before anybody else does. So
I think I've been thinking about this since we talked about it on the show. I'm thinking that the reason they're doing this, and I had made reference to like the boy bands where they send them to like Switzerland and to all they send them to all the countries to make them famous there first. I'm thinking also for hype ability, right? So if everybody in those countries are hyping this up, America's largely where they're probably worried, right? Because Americans are assholes. Let's be honest about that. If anybody's going to be offended, it would be me because I'm an American. But Americans are a lot more critical, in my opinion, right? So I'm thinking if other countries hype it up, where they're more into the lore, they're more accepting of those kind of things, maybe. I don't really know. I'm trying not to offend anybody, but it shouldn't be taken offensive. Americans are assholes. We're very super critical. So I'm thinking that if other countries get to see it and they're posting and they're bragging, then everybody in America is like, well, fuck, I got to watch this movie. My only problem with that is Blizzard, you don't have to. I'm in. Sign me up. I'm already organizing an Arizona watch party for this movie. I already literally have 20 people flying into Arizona, and we are going to do this thing.
Do the do.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're in. You don't have to sell us. We are all in. I talked about this with my buddy David while I was at the store earlier because he called me about he was going to buy Medivh at Toys R Us. We were talking about it, and I said to him, the cool thing about this is if everybody that's ever played World of Warcraft watches, they've already made their money back, right? They've already made the money back that they put in for the movie. So anybody else that they pull along with it, that's just icing on the fucking cake. I don't think they're going to have a problem with viewership. Somebody released a thing earlier on Facebook about there's a website that predicts how good or bad movies are going to be when they come out, like how they're going to do in the box office, and they predicted that World of Warcraft was going to tank. Everybody that's ever played is going to watch this movie.
on a side note, that was the same website that said Deadpool was going to tank. Now who's laughing?
Right.
Although you
Yeah.
really shouldn't take your children to see Deadpool. My brother went to see it. We're going to go watch it next week.
Sure.
My brother went to watch it, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away because my brother did tell me some stuff that happens in the movie. Parents, if you're taking your children that are under, I would say 14 to this movie, you really need to rethink your lives. It's largely inappropriate for audiences
Really?
13 and
I
up.
would have
Yeah.
gone with like 18, but that's me.
Well, I'm saying we're a little bit more liberal in America where we let our children put on makeup at 12 because we don't know how to parent properly. But
We'll make it really simple. Deadpool, not Warcraft.
yes. Yeah, my brother said there was a lot of inappropriate things, and there was families that had all their little bitty children in this theater watching. And I'm glad that I didn't go because I got to tell you, I would have literally like stood up in the theater and fucking wigged out on all these parents. But to each their own. Parent how you want to parent. Grow up and raise a bunch of kids that are watching Deadpool at the age of 10. Sounds good. But no, I think they don't have to worry. I think it's going to be if it's
But
half
I
what it says.
sort of guess they're doing the same with the merchandise as well. Like they're releasing it to America and see if there's a bit of interest there, like to really slowly sort of build that hype train. Whereas everywhere else in the world, they're going the other way. They were like, here, go and see the movie first. Get really excited
With the
about it. Get
merchandise,
super
they have
hyped
time to
about
fix it,
and,
right? Because
and
we
then pay
complain about
way too
everything.
much for the merchandise. Yeah, exactly.
Americans complain about everything. It's what we do. That's who we
I
are.
thought there was just America.
Opinionated.
Canada was kind of like our backyard, and then everybody else was in the EU, right?
Canada apologizes for everything.
I believe it was the United States of North America.
Canada's going to be like, I'm sorry for the World of Warcraft movie. Is that right? Is that how it works, Jim?
We don't apologize for nothing.
Damn
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Even when you blamed Canada, yeah, I do actually
You
apologize.
did blame Canada. South Park blamed Canada. Kyle's mom
You
blamed
guys
Canada.
jumped on board with Kyle's mom. Just there.
I would have helped free Terrence and Phillip.
I think that's how you guys pictured me in Zoom when I didn't have a webcam. Like Jimmy just go, "Meh, meh, 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 meh." I just farted.
You said it. I didn't.
I think that's how you guys picture us too.
I
Pretty much.
can't.
I'm still trying to figure out how you got the back of it to stay down.
Oh my.
The head, how it like.
Oh, the flapping head.
Yeah.
That's so. South Park is so awful, but I love it. God, they offend everybody every episode, and I love it. I can't even deal with it. Archaeology. So a lot of these professions are being revamped. They're giving you a purpose now, right? We've got the artifact weapon for fishing. There was some changes made to cooking. They're giving you reasons to actually do these things now besides go and pick a flower, go and mine a node. They're giving you purpose and drive for doing this. You're going to start gaining specific things that are going to help make your life easier in doing these, what we consider today, these mundane tasks of a means to make money or a means to craft or whatever the case may be. But with archaeology, it's the only place that doesn't have a building. There was no building in archaeology. You just get your little shovel, went out there and did your stuff, have an interface and do your thing. Well, they are bringing a building and it's actually going to be in Dalaran. You're going to have, it's very, WoW had posted a very elaborately themed building. I dig it. It's pretty legit. There's all kinds of the stuff that you get now via archaeology, the different artifacts. Is that what they're artifacts, right? I'm just barely getting into my archaeology. They have them kind of strewn about this very beautiful building. I think that's pretty
it does
legit.
Look cool.
Yeah.
They kind of took us what they were doing with the garrisons. In the garrisons, when you get pristine artifacts, which that started back in Pandaria with the pristine ones, where you can get achievements for getting the perfect ones. But right now, when you get them, you're able to put them up on the whatchamacallit, right there on your garrison, and you can see all the artifacts that you restored. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea. I just wish. And I like the idea that they're going more useful stuff, like the Purple Hills of Macquarie, which gives you artifact power and things like that. It's such a time sink, though. I mean, I couldn't imagine somebody who only has a couple hours here and there to play to be able to invest the time into it anymore. I think they need to revamp it.
That was my issue with it, and it has been since Pandaland when they introduced so many different artifacts. Like, to get one artifact is like 6 attempts at a dig, but then they have It's something ridiculous. It's like 250 different artifacts that even when you tick off 10 of them, you get 5 achievement points. I Cataclysm, I blitzed through Archie because I actually really enjoyed it, and it wasn't a stupid amount. Pandaland, I was like, nah, forget it, and I still haven't gone back and done it now. Reading through this stuff and having a look at like the little house for it and some of the stuff you can get from it, I'm tempted to dabble back into it, but not at the cost of like hours of gameplay. Like if
I
it's
think if
something
you're
that
bored and have nothing left to do, right?
like if I'm flying around and I pass over one, yeah, I'll go and dig it. If I do that a few times, if I get an artifact out of it, awesome. But I'm not going to sit there and try and bank up. Like I said, like to get one artifact, you essentially have to do 60 pieces.
That's not even
it's
a
just
rare
like
one.
it's for a shit gray 5 gold bender. Like it's.
Well, one thing I do like is in relation to archaeology, the blood of young Manaroth, which gives its crafting item that's tied to obliterum, I don't know if I said that right, increases the item level of your crafted armor by 5. Because remember we talked about, I want to say it was about 7 or 8 episodes ago, we talked about how they were trying to make crafted gear worth it again, right? Because right now crafted gear is just a means to get you in to LFR or to be able to get you into something else. They're trying to make it worth your while. We spent a fuck ton of money on this crafted gear and upgrading it with all this fell blight and bloods. And
I
then,
didn't.
and then it just goes in your bank. Like all my crafted gear, when I outcrafted, when I got, heroic gear, it goes in my bank and that's where it sits. So I think that it's nice that they're starting to give you more things that you can use around the way. Like there's an imp generator, which is a trinket. This trinket, it's item level 800 and it lets you summon imps. That's legit. So you get to have a little bit of warlock in you. Would you like a little warlock in you?
Oh,
She said, but
the spectral moose mount, I think, is that's going to draw a lot of people into Archie. And until they get them out, as soon as you get them out, you
Agreed.
watch. If there's 20 billion people doing it, there'll be fucking 5 of them still doing it after they get them out.
True.
That's just how it happens.
The Black Rook key gains you access to a secret side room within Black Rook Hold. I like that kind of stuff. Things that you can I like that. The Starlight Beacon. Never mind. The Starlight Beacon seems like it's not going to do me any good.
what about that neck piece that you get, the Prize Rock neckband?
Yep.
I mean, it gives you three prismatic sockets plus a socket bonus to get you 1,200 leech. I mean, it's not bad.
Then you can get a key to Narthalos Academy. You can visit the time lost version of the Narthalos Academy. The spirit of
doing stuff like that.
I don't know what that was.
It gives that to me is almost a throwback of the days in Kara when you were raiding and you'd have your pug group and someone would be like, oh, has anyone got an urn? And you go out on the balcony and I can't remember what's his name, the little dragon that had come down, and it was like a bonus event for someone. If you had someone in the group that's done the work, then you could have that little bonus event. Now that the key and things like that to me is a throwback to that. Like if you're in a pug group, you can now go and do a time loss version, or you can go into the side room. You might have an extra boss or something like that because you've got that one person in the group that's wasted 4 hours of their life doing archaeology. I think that is fucking cool.
With their updated models, I got sidetracked a little bit with the Nightmare Ent. I know we had seen that when we watched the preview at BlizzCon. I forgot how badass that looks because it's like black and blood red. The Nightmare Ent. I was just looking at the models on that WoW had a data mine. That is so freaking awesome. I want it so bad. Definitely not on subject, but I did. This is what happens. I talked about Dalaran getting a nice set of updates there, updating the map in general, adding some pretty cool things. And the underbelly, Dalaran's underbelly is getting a nice, they've added lots of like random little weird chests and just different things to the scenery, which I think is kind of cool. But in light of that, you can also find a treasure goblin wandering around, which I think there's another place somewhere in there that allows you to have that. But have you guys got to check out the little models?
Mm-mm.
No,
I think I've seen one before.
I've seen the model of the treasure goblin. weird, awkward silence.
I thought you guys were going to talk more about especially Hots with the treasure goblin, but I guess that wasn't a thing.
No, I
No.
got yelled at last time.
I'm kind of funny or trying to figure out what they're actually planning on doing with them though, because I see you can actually you can bribe one of the guards, or that's for the PvP zone. But it's they mention the treasure goblins and then they kind of just like, okay, that's it.
If I had to imagine, they're gonna be more like the Diablo ones. You're gonna get like the legendary BOPs that are coming out.
Maybe he'll be a vendor?
Maybe.
Maybe he'll just be a character walking around doing his thing that you
Maybe
can't
he'll
really
try to hump your
interact
leg.
with. He's
Or
just there to
maybe
look
he'll
cool.
just be like the NPC to show you what they look like. So if you ever come across one, out the world, then you know what to look for.
Makes
And
a
then
lot of
just,
sense.
Like, instead of just being like, oh, I don't want to spend the 5 minutes or the 2
I
minutes.
still
or the,
Because I still
however
maintain they
long.
look like kobolds. So,
They look like funky little kobolds with a lot more expensive candles.
My mic is picking up,
Yeah, your mic's picking up the typing. I tried to say it slyly with you not saying it.
so I can be like Hoss.
No, but like literally, I can hear the click clacking,
Oh.
and I'm trying to focus, and it's like.
Do that.
Ow!
I felt left out. I'm sorry.
That's all part of just us making sure that we're putting out the best for our listeners. So that's pretty much all we had for the news in general. We did cover quite a bit. We do have some pretty good segments laid out for you guys. So Lycan we still have not named his lore segment. I promise that's on my list of to do of getting with Lycan and having him come up with something super awesome, like Lycan's boudoir, or I don't know, something equally as freaky. But he's going to be talking about Titan lore. What you got for us?
Yeah, well, I got to give a shout out to Amanda. She is somebody on Twitter who follows me and had said, hey, how about World of Warcraft? But unfortunately, there's already community named World of Warcraft, so we definitely can't steal that. So yeah, we're definitely looking for what to pick. But going on over what we've done over the last couple of weeks, I would like to go a little bit more onto the Titans. We went over the Watchers last week, which are direct Titan creations. So what we are trying to move into now is who the Titans actually were and why they're so important. And we're going to learn a lot about a specific one coming up in Legion. Now, the Titans, I said the before we learned about the Watchers, these were known as the Makers. They were also known by several names. The Trolls called them the Travelers. The Oracles up in Northrend used to call them the Great Ones. And they're a race of creatures that are similar to gods. Some will argue that they are gods, others not so much. I'm really not going to get into that right now. But some people do believe they are the quote-unquote gods of Warcraft, may even be tied to who the light is. That's for a whole different subject, though. There are two types of Titans that we know of. We can call them races. One is the Aesir. They are platinum-skinned storm giants. And then you have the Vanir, which are bronze-skinned earth giants. And they have directly actually created many of the inhabitants of Azeroth. Now, it's believed that there's about 5 original races on Azeroth, which are the Trolls, the Earthen, the Tarn, the Mountain Giants, and the Sea Giants. Of these, the Giants and the Earthen were actually created directly by the Titans. It's also believed that maybe the Mechanomes were created by them as well to help shape the world. Now, there's another race that people get confused or have some speculations on. It was the Iron Vrykul, which we met up in Northrend. I believe there was that one that was called the Iron Shaper, but which we actually later known they became into the Vrykul and then also the humans. But if you look at some of the sources throughout the game, it's Loken that created them, and that's a Watcher we learned about last week. The Trolls and Tarn are generally thought of as to be the first to evolve on Azeroth. As with the dragons, there's also been referred to as the Hounds of the Titans by the old gods, causing speculation as well as these being creations. That really hasn't been confirmed. I mean, we know about Galakron and the Proto-Drakes, but like I said, they have not actually said that, yes, they are definitely Titan creations. There are 2 other species on Azeroth, though, that actually may predate the Titans on the planet. The first one are the Furbolgs, which originally started from Northrend, and we find them also on Kalimdor.
They're in Grizzly Hills.
Yes, they're in
And
Grizzly Hills there. And Fellwood is actually where we find them, but those ones we assume are directly from Grizzly Hills. So we have the Furbolgs, which they actually have some folklore saying about them actually coming before, and they remember the arrival of the Titans.
Weren't they set to guard the land of Grizzly Hills?
Yes.
Do I remember that? I did a video on Grizzly Hills, the only reason I know lore at all. But they're supposed to guard it. That was what they were put there for, right?
Right. Well, that's the thing is with the Furbolgs, they supposedly have actually there are folklore saying that they remember the Titans coming. So there's the argument there of, was it the Furbolgs there first, or was it the Titans that showed up first, and that maybe the Furbolgs just remember the earliest as the Titans coming. So that's kind of one of those ones that's still up in the air. And really the only other ones on Azeroth that's been before that, in quite possibly the earliest intelligent beings on the planet, were the Murlocs. And I say intelligent in quotation marks, but some of our fans, including Murky, might get upset that they are intelligent, but I don't believe so. Now,
however true it might be.
Right. There's one thing that we should touch on right now, and that is called the Curse of the Flesh. I'm not going to go into too in-depth on it because that ties back with the old gods, and there's a lot that goes into the Curse of Flesh. But it's something that we should mention. What it is a curse from the old gods. This was to assimilate the Titan creations. These races that were affected by that were the Earthen, which turned into the dwarves. We have the Stone Trogs, which are obviously the Trogs now. The Mechanomes. Now, that's another supposed Titan creation, but there's some discussion on whether they were actually creations or they started off as a race. But you have the Mechanomes, which are now the Gnomes, and then the Iron Vrykels, which, again, they were also diseased, and they had a diseased offspring, rather, that later evolved into humans, and we learned about that. I think I did that a couple months ago. With Cataclysm, we were actually introduced with two more races that succumb to the Curse of the Flesh, which are the Tol'vir, which are the stone cat-like creatures that are now the Ramkahan, which is the faction in Autumn, and the Earth Elementals, which were in Deepholm. Now they turn into them big fungal creations that we see, I believe, up there by that big fat lady thing that we had to go talk to over there. I can't remember what her name was.
She was hot.
She has feelings too. Gosh. Hello?
No. I hated going up there and looking at her. There's just something about that model that. Anyway, it might have been dreams of an ex-girlfriend, so we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And then finally, we have the Mogu, which were discovered in Pandaria. They were once stone creatures that were guardians of the Dark Heart of Yasharj, which we seen Garrosh going absolutely crazy using it. Now, the two types of Titans that we have are the Aesir, which were known as the smarter, more stronger, more agile ones, and the Vanir, which were known to be tough but just less powerful. There are rumors of more races or sub-races of Titans, but it's really never been officially proven, nor is there anything been officially stated out through either, Blizzard tweets or in canon. And really, that's unfortunately the most that we know about the actual race itself. And there are two conflicting reports of whether or not we will ever see Titans in the game. One was written by Metzen himself saying, yes, we will see them. One was put out on a Q&A video saying, no, we will only see their creations. So we'll see who wins on that argument.
They've got to keep you guessing. That's
right. Which, I mean, if you actually look, they say that most of the models that are using for the Watchers are Titan. They have them labeled as Titan models. So we know what the Watchers look like. We've seen Freya. We've seen, I won't even say Memron, but, Freya kind of depicts, well, not even Hodir as well, but Freya's Titan model. Loken would be a Titan model. Those are the ones when you think of a Titan, so what they should look like. We do have a few Titan cities we've actually ran into. Autumn, which was the entire zone down in Teneris. It's actually the one south of Teneris that there's there as well. Aldwar, we saw up in Storm Peaks, of course, in Northrend, and then Alderman, and they all have that same name to them, so you know they're a Titan creation with the ULD in front of it. That is actually beneath Khazad-dûm. The only really big thing that we go into with the Titans as well is there's a ruling class of Titans, and they form what is called the Pantheon, and they have some actually dedicated aspects of the universe that they tend to control. Bloke server, Amanthul, he is the High Father of the Pantheon. He gave his power to Nozdormu, which was the time aspect. We have Aonar, which is his matron, or his consort, rather. She's the matron of all life, the mother of all life. She's also considered, like, again, the wife, but she gave her power to
Is she a wife or
Alexstrasza.
a consort? Doesn't a consort, you taught me this recently.
There's two different discussions on it. I have one to say she's the consort and sister of Amanthul, which if you look at gods, when you go back into like Greek and Norse mythology, that there's many times where they married their sister and procreated many more children on top of that. But then the other one, you'll either see wife and or sister and consort or wife. And I've seen it written both ways. I don't know what to say. Can't keep it in your pants, keep it in your pants.
That's worse than the fetal possession lore segment.
Like you said, you can't keep it in your pants, keep it in your family. But that's... But so we got Aonar. She gave out power to Alexstrasza and Ysera. So the aspect of life and the aspect of the Emerald Dream. We have Norgannon, which is my favorite, of course. He is the Lore Keeper and Master Magician. He obviously gave his power to Malagos, which was the aspect of life. And we learned about all this back last week when we started talking about Tyr and the formation of the aspects. Tyr had gone back to the Titans saying, look, I find 5 sentient beings that are going to be very helpful. They're able to work together. And that's when they started the aspects. And then we have Khazgaroth, which was the shaper and forger of the world. He gave his power to Neltharion, which was the aspect of the earth. There are I guess there's 3 more. There's 3 more. You have Golganeth, the Thunderer. Now, he's the son of Amanthul and Aonar. They call him the patron of the skies and the seas. He is the only one named as the actual father of a race, which is the father of the sea giants. And the only other 2 that we know of are Sargeras, the Destroyer, which his original title would have been Defender of the Worlds. And then we have Agrimar. And Agrimar is the champion of the Pantheon. He is the successor to Sargeras. Now, with that being said, it comes to the conversation of who Sargeras is and why he's considered on the Pantheon. He was the brother of, or is the brother of Amanthul, and he is the current leader of the Burning Legion. This guy was the right-hand man of the Pantheon, and he was the one responsible for keeping everything in order that the Titans created. Titan went through, created all these worlds. As they went through, when they started falling into chaos, they sent Sargeras out to protect that planet, destroy any forces that were acting upon it, which did not have a name at the time, and then bring it back into order. The problem, though, is we have the Nathrezim. Now, they've always wanted to destroy everything that the Titans had created and bring it back into chaos. Sargeras was sent out to fight against it. After many times of fighting, and we're talking millennia of him fighting them, he kind of got into this, some called a depression, some called a madness, and it started consuming him. And it was believed, and he started to believe, though, that it was the Titans' fault for all the creation failing. He began to form an army to undo all the work that the Titans had started joining together, or started doing, and he joined forces with the Nathrezim. And he used them as what are called Dreadlords, which we've seen the Dreadlords within Warcraft or World of Warcraft quite often, and even some of the RTS games back in the beginning. Used them as his generals and his army. Now, this army would be unmatched, and he wanted to watch the universe die in flames, and that was just a direct quote. So he named the army called the Burning Legion. Now, I'm going to get some flack over the last part. There are generally 2 schools of thought on the fall of Sargeras. The interpretation of where I think that the Nathrezim began to influence him, began to change him, put him in this madness, is my opinion. There is another school of thought out there that I will get into more deeply and talk directly when we speak just on Sargeras, because I think it deserves its own lore segment. He is such an integral part coming up with the upcoming expansion with Legion. There is a huge history on him. Like, there's only been one mortal to ever truly actually injure Sargeras himself, and that was Broxigar, and that was back during the War of the Ancients. You know, it was a unmatched orc warrior from Orgrimmar that was able to go down and hit him with wasn't Malfurion. Who's the little Earth Guardian thing? The demigod. Really terrible today. But anyway, he went down and he was able to Cenarius. He was able to use Cenarius' act.
You're asking the wrong group of people.
I
We
know.
only know lore because you tell us. So.
I looked and it was like deer in the headlights. Look there for a second.
Outside of, you know the rules, man. Outside of Arthur's law, don't ask bloke.
And that's the thing, is he's such a big part, I should have remembered that. But yeah, Cenarius had given him an axe, and he jumped down in through the portal that was trying to bring Sargeras to him, was actually injured him. I was the only one that was ever to do it. This guy is huge. We're talking, the Titans are 20 to 50 feet. I mean, it's never been specifically cited, but that's about the size of each one of the Titans. And they say Sargeras is twice, maybe 3 times the size of that.
They're about
I mean,
the same size as me, then.
Well, pretty much, right. Compared from you to Sam, or you, sorry, I used your slave name, you to Bell, yeah, it's about the same size.
See, I'm 5'3".
5'2.5".
With shoes on.
I know I'm not even 5'3". That's just what's on my driver's license. I wanted to be taller.
But outside of that, that's it on the Titans. There's really not much. I wanted to
There's
touch
still
on.
such a mystery, though, right? There's so much.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like these guys that it seems almost godlike in nature. Of they just come down and do some random shits, and then they just secretly disappear again.
And that's a good observation. There's a lot of conversations on where are the Titans? Why haven't they come back? Why haven't they actually stepped in? I mean, we know that there's been successors to Sargeras with Agrimar, but why haven't they sent him to start fighting him?
Are they disappointed in us, right? Did we make them mad?
Or have they been destroyed? I mean, we're talking Sargeras is the most powerful being right now in the
What if
universe.
they're all held captive in someone's basement trying to put lotion on the fucking skin? Hello, Buffalo Bill.
Well,
They're
we'll
rocks.
always remember the Titans.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Two movie references in a span of a minute. I'm so impressed with us right now.
Zing.
I'm amused.
You crazy kids.
I would be more concerned of if what I know of that whole thing is we got put on Azeroth to defend, to help defend it, so the Titans weren't always doing everything. So what if the Titans haven't come back yet because they haven't seen a big enough threat?
But how much of a bigger enough threat do we want? I mean, we've dealt with the old gods. We've dealt with the Burning Legion now twice, or actually,
we've dealt with all the fucking Hell Screams, the whole family of Hell Screams.
We're only they said that they want WoW to be around for another 10 years. We have 10 other expansions to be looking at.
And that's the thing too. I mean, let's even take a look at the aspects with Nozdormu. He goes and gives him the power of time to keep all the timelines in order. He loses this power and is now mortal. Rathian goes and screws it all up by start putting these rifts. What point will they step in and say, okay, enough is enough? And that's why we're wondering, are the Titans even still there?
Unless Blizzard's saving the Titans for a big, grand, epic, Noah in the Ark style, right?
I would agree with that. And
we're all going to be on a boat.
That's why I had so much hope for when they had Project Titan or whatever it was. I know it was only a code name, but for a brief window there, I was like, oh, we're gonna
I remember that, and I made people rage when they scrapped the project because I made fun of all the people that were upset.
It was fun to speculate, but it's one of those things that after
the association,
playing through all the stories and all the quests and hearing the lore in that, I would love at some stage to see these guys and have 100-man party to raid against those kinds of bosses, because I figured that's the kind of manpower.
You want to know what they are? They're in the Emerald Nightmare.
But what if we've always seen them? What if they're in a different form, right? What if they've always been here and they're just in a different form? They're watching. Is that a possibility?
I would agree with that. And this is where, and I know this is going on my tinfoil hat. I don't know where it's at right now, but
the kids probably have it. It's probably in Sean's toolbox.
Yeah, Sean's probably playing with it. But, some have speculated that the Titans are no longer, and they no longer need their physical bodies and have evolved, for lack of a better term, into the light.
Transcended.
What if God was one of us, even, right? Maybe he's
that's a great song.
Maybe he's the cobalt down the way, or maybe he's been an integral. Maybe some of these Titans have been an integral part of something.
What if the candles?
And we've taken his candle too many times, and now they're pissed.
I know. Now they're.
What if the candle's the body?
Am I the only one that thought Hans was going into labor right now with his breathing, or was that just me?
Even with the Titan stuff,
I got excited.
How about in Cataclysm too? We were promised for archaeology, or not archaeology. It was going to be tied with archaeology with Path of the Titans. So it was a new way to level, and this is before they had done the big change of all the the talent trees and everything like that. That they were going to do the Path of the Titans, which we were supposed to find out so much through archaeology. And they've given us bits and pieces, but not too much.
I wonder if it's because they're saving that for some lead into type of situation. That might be me having a lot of faith in Blizzard.
Yeah. All right. So with the Q&A was actually asked before Chris Smithson opened his mouth. So on the Q&A, they had said that we're never going to see the Titans in game. And then I believe it was like a year later that Metzen said we will see them just further down the road. With the Q&A, they said, their exact quote was, we're only going to see the creations. In which we have seen a lot of them coming up, with Autumn showing up and, Alderman and Aldwar that we've been to. Supposedly, we're going to find more about the Titans coming into Legion as well. I believe there's something in Dalaran, what's protecting Dalaran all this time, that there's supposedly information there we're going to learn. Plus, we're going to learn with some of the older races that we're going to run into that have been on the Broken Isles for quite some time. But as for actually seeing them, we were promised so many things, and it would be neat to see them. But my only fear is that I don't want to see this come too early. Because you're right. I mean, there could be so many more years down the road that we could be dealing with different expansions. But I don't want to see them,
I don't like it when it's early either, just so we're clear.
I don't want them to blow the water.
Out there and let the whole world know that nobody likes it when you go early.
No.
I'm done.
As long as you cuddle off the woods, it's all good.
I'm going to sleep.
I like eating strawberry sherbet afterwards, but that's just me.
This is why you shouldn't have these guys as your friends, because they're fucking rude.
Oh, there are going to be so many people laughing over that one, but that's okay.
Awful. That was a good segment. Good word from the lore man himself. Good word. Hots has got a hardcore casual. He's going to be talking about the Mythic Iron Reaver. So everybody get your butt wiping stuff together.
I wipe my own ass.
Do you wipe your own ass? Yes. You can't get rid of me because I wipe my own ass. Big Daddy?
No.
Never mind. Huh. All right. So Mythic Iron Reaver. There's not a whole lot different in this fight. You still deal with the same mechanics, except for one added mechanic, which is during phase 1, you have to deal with bombs. And it's the same kind of bombs you would deal with in normal or heroic phase 2. So every time he casts Barrage, you're going to have your ranged swap off and kill the bombs. They have a good amount of health. You want to make sure everyone's swapping. If there's one next to melee, have the melee swap over, kill it really quick. Done deal. The next part, phase 2, is where it gets really tricky. Phase 2, you're dealing with 3 different kinds of bombs. You're dealing with one called Quick Fuse that goes early. One likes those. Reinforce, which are the tank buster. Think of them more like the Iron Juggernaut bombs from Siege of Orgrimmar. And then the burning bombs. Every time you hit or
that
cast
happens
on,
after. That's after you go too early. That's the herp. I got you.
Yeah. So whenever you hit the burning bomb, you get a debuff that puts a stacking burn on you. So, it
Wow.
burns when you PvP. And then so
I'm already laughing at that.
Look at Bloke's face.
There's two different strategies going into this. One, you can do the super elite mythic raider strategy, which is bring in one healer, one tank that can do a lot of DPS, and then 19 or 18 major big bursty DPS classes like arcane mages, boomkins, hunters, destro locks or affliction locks in this case, and you burn him before you even get to phase 2. You have to be pretty geared, you have to have your ring, all that fun stuff. But all in all, the fight lasts all of 30 seconds to 45 seconds if you're able to perform this strategy. The second strat is you want to have your healers grouped up towards the middle of the room. So whenever you're walking in and you're looking at Iron Reaver, you have the healers grouped up around there. And then you have two groups split between your range, one on the left, one on the right, spread out about 4 yards apiece because of the same debuff that he has in Heroic and Normal, where he throws it out and it'll stack on you, and if you're around extra people, you'll get extra stacks, or people get unnecessary stacks. Whenever he does his barrage mechanic, he always targets healers. This is why you put the healers in the middle, that way your DPS get more uptime and not have to worry about casting on the boss, or having to move and losing DPS on those, and you don't have to worry about the bombs so much. You want to make sure you keep the boss towards the center of the room, because every time he does cast barrage, it's going to, bombs can be put anywhere in the room, and it doesn't necessarily target certain people. It just goes sporadically through the room, and you want to make sure that you can get those down, because if you have one or two up and they go off at the same time as pounding or anything like that, you're generally going to be put in a really bad position, and hope you have enough healers or quick reaction time for the healers, or you just don't get one shot. During Blitz, it's the same general thing. You want to make sure that you're not getting caught in it. It will do a lot more extra damage. I think the few times that I got caught, I would generally have to swap to bear form with bark skin up through the duration to make sure I didn't get killed. Other than that, it's a fairly easy mechanic. During phase 2, the strategy for that would generally be have your healers put in 4 different corners of the room. So you put 4 different raid markers down, you have a healer assigned to each one, and then you have each group, group 1 goes to blue, group 2 goes to red, so on and so forth. And they take care of the bombs that are going to be in that vicinity while the tanks are running.
Is that usually when it's a 2 split? So now it's 4 instead of 2 for Mythic, right?
Yeah. Because you have those 3 different kinds of bombs, you want to make sure that you don't have a melee around the quick fuse, because if there's 2 quick fuses spread out and where a range could hit it, and I think you can generally about 3-shot them. They have really low health pools. You want to make sure you get those down before they go off, because it's just unnecessary raid damage, and they still hurt, and they still do a lot of damage, and it hits the entire raid. So you want to make sure that you have your melee go ahead and start attacking the burning, and a quick fuse pops up right next to them, they can hit it, but a range will generally take care of those first. Hunters are really good at it, and boomkins can, if they make sure they save their Star Surge stacks and they kind of pool their resources a little bit. Generally, if you're going into arcane, you don't want to try to cast a Starfire on it, because that's a 2-second cast time, and you're going to have a second left before it goes off if you don't one-shot it. So you can put yourself in an awkward position. With the burning ones, you want to make sure that you don't get more than 2, maybe 3 stacks of it. It will start hurting a lot, and with all the random damage that's going out during that phase, if you accidentally run over fire and then you have 3 stacks of the buff, you're just putting a lot of stress where it's not needed, and it's not only you, there's going to be other people that are going to be messing up on it, and you'll start seeing a pattern of, 4 or 5 people getting those debuffs on them and then standing in fire, and then they just melt because they end up out of range of the healers. And I think that's the hardest part of this fight, and you see it the same way when you're progressing through normal and heroic. People end up way off in the middle of bump up Egypt and are way out of the range of heals, and they're taking damage, and they're wondering, why am I not getting healed, blah, 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 blah. And most DPS that I've seen don't really pay attention to the raid frames to see where their range is in consideration to the healers and the tanks. And if you're not paying attention to the bomb thing that he throws on the tanks, you'll end up getting one shot from that because you're, out of position, and you just kind of get screwed over. Overall, it's a fairly easy fight. It's fairly low wipes. The more DPS you have, the easier this fight gets. Like 90% of the fights. Your biggest focus is staying in range of healers and making sure bombs die before they want to, or before they blow up too early. And then you don't have anything to worry about. You can go 3 phases or 3 air phases, and you won't necessarily be worried about any kind of enrage time or anything like that. It's just make sure you're doing the mechanics properly and you win. There's no need to have to skip air phases by burning it in one phase. It just makes it's funny, and it makes the fight a lot more tolerable because it's over that much faster. But for progression, I wouldn't suggest trying that strategy. Maybe once you get 10 out of 13 mythic multiple times, then you'll have the gear to start
up where I am, really.
Yeah, 14
Right.
to 14 mythic and Siege of Orgrimmar, you should be good to go, But overall,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it for the boss fight. Just have fun with it. Figure out what works for you. Figure out if you have the DPS for it or not. You can have fun with it. You'll see a lot of people dying to a lot of things they really shouldn't be, but it's a really weird fight from the fact of the cone that goes all the way across the raid room or the room, or the glitches with the blitz where if the tank taunts him, he looks at the tank and then blitzes a different direction. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, that's the tanking perspective for that fight is literally a maybe 1 second reaction time. Like, you have a really tight timing that you have to meet. If he puts what is the thing that he puts on the tanks called? The bomb thing? I can't remember off the top of my head. I keep wanting to call it barrage, but that's the funnel cone thing. Either way.
Bloke, you should have this. You're mythic, bud.
Yeah.
It's exploding tankness buff.
Okay, so whenever he puts the exploding tankness buff on the tank and he runs away, if he still has aggro on the boss, if the melee don't follow him for some lucky reason, or the tank's calling it, you're losing that much DPS on the boss. So you have to, and there's times where it's overlapping where he puts the exploding tank buff on the tank while the other one still has it and it blows up, then he has to run in taunt while the other one's running out, and it gets really hectic in the front line for sure. But it's just a part of the strategy. Like, I'm really happy with the way they have tanking right now, where you actually have your own mechanics and your own deadlines to do things instead of just artillery. That's what it is. But yeah,
They don't just put artillery on the tanks, though. They put artillery on DPS as
during
well.
phase 2.
Oh.
During phase 2, they will.
Ruined my fun. I was kind of hoping that would stick, and somewhere down the track, someone would be like, I would join a pug and hear that term.
But
Like, thank you.
I'll start whenever we go back through and clearing it. I'll start calling her that. Like, get away with me from the exploding tank buff thing. But that's generally the overall fight. It's nothing major. It's nothing huge it's not a major game changer. It's something you've seen before. You just have to do it more often, really. But good luck.
More often.
And don't explode too early.
Doing it more often helps.
I hear they make a pill for that too. It's called like they make the little blue potions for
Just
the
make eye contact with the boss.
the analytic potions and the agility potions and the strength potions. Make sure you pre-pot and after pot. You know, but
Fucking done with you.
I don't know what just happened, but we just took a turn for the worst.
yeah, no, that would be my segment. It's a
Mythic
pretty
Iron Reaver, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are Mythic and you are struggling with Mythic Iron Reaver, or you're getting ready to go into it, now you have our perspective. So you're getting it from the guy in the trenches.
we're like
Shots.
we've seen phase 3 of Mythic Archimon once now, so we're working on getting back to that, and once we get in there, I'd say another 1, maybe 2 raid nights, we'll have him down, then I can start going back and making videos for these things. So that'll be nice.
We're not going early.
And not going early. Yeah.
Angie will appreciate that. Boom! You like how I just... Angie, I love you.
I'm gonna have to make sure I take a couple of pre-potions and
On that note, Jimma Banks, he has his very own segment because he's the pet battle guy, right? He's the guy that does the things, which essentially is why he's been absorbed into the Pwnecast universe, because we wanted to be able to give to you guys an element that we don't already have here, which is all of you pet battlers. We have Lycan who does do pet battling, but he's definitely not the pro go-to. That would be our good buddy Jimma here.
I was just going to say one of two for sure. Lycan's qualified, and if we have pet battler listeners, at least Lycan will enjoy some of this information. Big changes. Do we have pet battlers listening? Because you want to tune in right now. This just in.
I did one time.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. There's actually some nerfs coming up with a lot of the pets. Graves, that so-called not overpowered pet, is being nerfed. They're taking away some of the attack power, some of the health, and then also making it so you can't choose both AoE abilities. So you actually just have to choose one of the two. Currently, it's overpowered because in PvP pet battles, it's the only pet that has 2 AoE abilities. So by nerfing that or changing the abilities around, you only have 1 AoE ability, and then, of course, it doesn't hit as hard, and Graves has less attack power. They're also going to change, and this is a kind of a I don't know if it's a game changer. It's a nerf that's kind of needed. All of the undead pets, when they come back for the extra round for the undead racial, will do 25% less damage. So, I mean, when it comes to PvP pet battlers or PvP pet battles, usually people are selecting an undead pet because the racial is pretty powerful. So, I don't know if it's usually, and that change will affect some of my pet battle teams that I use a lot, the overpowered ones. So yeah, the undead racial is a big change. The nerf to Graves overall, and then just some of the other abilities like Thunderbolt will now have a 5-round cooldown compared to 4 rounds. Thunderbolt's a pretty good ability. It's another AoE attack. Also, Cleave. There's only one pet that can use Cleave, but it's another AoE ability. So we're seeing kind of like a theme where they're nerfing these AoE abilities. Cleave has a 1-round cooldown. It did not have a cooldown, and yeah, a lot of exciting things. Frog Kiss and Sleeping Gas, those are also abilities that can they have a 25% chance to either stun you or put you to sleep. Or
both of the items that Lycan possesses.
What, the ability to put us to sleep or kiss us? Or?
The gas and frog kissing.
Gas? Is it gas Lycan? Are you gassy? Is it gas?
We shared a room with them at BlizzCon, okay?
Oh, don't put them on
bad
blast.
with them.
Oh, even better. I was gonna say, don't put them on blast, but just that information for the world.
Okay, I'm done.
I'll usually move on from those things, but you want to picture those two now quietly sleeping together.
You've changed the face of those talents forever.
Forever. No, great information. I appreciate it. Ooh, also, there was these rumors of this tournament on an island, these floating islands by Dalaran in Alpha. Hey. Oh, so I don't know if there's actually going to be a tournament or not, but there's now 3 trainers there, and I don't know what he's doing. Lycan, this segment's for you and I. I don't know if we have any Pet Battle listeners.
Oh, I'm done. I'm just reading.
He's reading a manual.
For what?
Go ahead.
Better menu.
You're good, Jim. Go ahead.
Yeah, so anyways, there's the floating island. There was reports of it being another tournament similar to the Celestial tournament. And that was very exciting because I feel we need another one. But now randomly there's 3 trainers there. Only one of them you can battle. And you can repeatedly battle him. I'm sure it'll just be a daily thing they're working on. I mean, it's alpha, right? There'll be a lot of changes, so you can currently battle that. So that's exciting. Some new trainers. Hopefully that tournament's a big thing because I'm excited for that. And then, of course, it's not necessarily breaking news, but there's some announced cool pets that will be in the new expansion. The Sunborn Valkyr is sexy. It's like an unborn Valkyr, but golden. Baby Elderhorn, a Celestial Calf, a Corgi Pup. A lot of remakes, actually, so... And then also on the website where I was checking for certain pets, there's a new archaeology pet and a new mechanical pet. Of course, there'll be tons of them. So a lot of cool changes. The nerfs are needed. I think they should also increase some of the attack power or health for some of the less used pets to just add more balance. But overall, the nerfs were kind of needed. And it affects the 2 teams that are overused the most because Thunderbolt is an ability used by the one mechanical Pandaren Dragonling. And then, of course, I overuse Graves. I think a lot of people are overusing Graves or some undead pets. So it'll be very interesting to see how the changes are finalized or impact the pet battles.
That was like
The only thing missing from that was like...
No, that was like a pro. Like, I'm digging it.
What do you mean like a pro? That's why you guys hired me.
Hold on. Hold on. We hung out with you too at BlizzCon. Do not make me tell all your dirty secrets because I'll do it.
I mean, we could talk about how Belle picks her nose in the middle of the night, but, you know,
I
we
don't
didn't
give a
go
damn.
there at
I'll
all.
pick my nose. I'll wipe it on you. I don't give a damn. I do pick my nose. But, I mean, I do with toilet paper.
Don't let our secrets destroy each other.
I
This is, you know, in Canada we have Family Day. It's officially over, and I know you don't celebrate it in Australia or America, but remember, you're all family. You need to stick together, right? Don't let this tear you
Every
apart.
day's Family Day in Australia, man.
Hey!
That's the only way we beat the kangaroos.
You should be a public speaker.
I'm working on it. It's that
I'm not sure whether we need to like dial you down a bit in terms of professionalism.
I
or,
know.
Like,
He just made us all step our
way
game up.
lift
Like,
out.
hi.
You think pet battles are a joke? Like, that's the thing about the community. Like, Lycan and I know
fucking game.
it's not a game. You guys can play the Warcraft game while we're going into battle with these pets. Like, it's a journey. It's not easy.
I'm going to be a real Pokemon master, Mom.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
was just saying, don't you dare call it Pokemon. And
It was sitting right here. I was just looking for the right word.
So Bloke has been a little out of the work this week, so he does not have any bullshit this week. I mean, I'm sure he's got bullshit, but it's definitely not Warcraft related bullshit. You do have bullshit?
Steaming pile of it.
Why is it not on your bullshit segment?
Because someone looked it so that I can't write the word.
Okay. Give us a go.
oh, why you did that?
Welcome to Bloke's Bullshit. The only thing that I sort of really wanted to talk about this week was something that keeps cropping up time and time again. And that's people going, Bloke, how do you make gold in a game? For starters, wrong person to be asking. I make money, get drunk, buy dumb shit, and then regret it in the morning, much like in real life. Like, we remember the incident with the Power Rangers mounts, and then there was the time before that with a whole bunch of pet battles that I don't even pet battle with. Like, I'm awesome at spending the gold, but the making of the gold was maybe the wrong thing. So I teamed up with Miguel from the guild and Pwnecast group, and we're all mates with Miguel. You know, one man, in a car
One
alone.
man alone.
Damn,
Sorry,
homie.
I had to throw that out. He gave me a hand setting up some add-ons and like playing around with the auction house and things like that. And I thought, well, for this week's bullshit, I'd throw some tips out there so that people can sort of start playing around with it themselves. The key thing to making any gold is the auction add-ons. And it doesn't have to be any of the like really technical, crazy, deep ones like TSM, which I'm 99% certain that I need to go to Harvard to understand that shit. I spent some quality time with Miguel on Skype and maybe got like 0.5% of an understanding of it. Like that thing is just crazy. So if you want to get into it, you go right ahead. But the two most common ones, Auctioneer and Auctionator, they're like stupidly overpowered for catching a bargain. When you're on the auction house, have a look through and if you keep them scanning and keep them updated, it'll give you a fair price of if someone's selling something underpriced that it will tell you in a percentage, and I think Auctioneer even has it color coded. So you can pick stuff up dirt cheap, wait a couple of days, or do it instantly, or whatever. Throw it back on the auction house and actually turn a profit. You can mess with the economy and post stuff on the auction house so that you have that constant flow of like buying and selling and crafting to put on the auction house. You can make a pretty decent income from it. The biggest thing, oh wow, the biggest thing that I can sort of suggest in terms of making gold is farming. And when you throw that word out there, everyone's like, farming. I don't have time to farming. Farming is laboring, and I either have to be really, really drunk or really, really other things that I'm not meant to mention and nearly did.
Edibles?
Yeah, that'll do. I like the Tim Tams. It doesn't have to be that crazy mundane task. Like in terms of farming older content, from what I've noticed in what I've been doing in the last week and a half, Kata seems to be around the hot point of, for the amount of time that you're going to spend in there versus relative ease, and the end product being how much gold you make per boss on top of what you can vendor and bind on equip that you can then put on the auction house. Now, I can't give you an exact figure because sometimes I do full clears, sometimes I just like, nah, boss, get in, get out, done. I do them anyway because I am doing the mount farming, but I realize that you can make a fairly substantial amount of gold just from farming. Even if you just go and do the mount farm dungeons and raids, you can make a fairly substantial amount of gold from doing that. But if you go back further into older content, things like Scholarmance, Dead Mines, like crazy old school stuff that literally you can pull the entire instance, hit one spell, kill shit, loot it all, go to the auction house, dump the whole lot, and turn a nice little profit. Especially from transmogs, and I don't understand that. Transmogs, I don't know why people buy them, but they do. And I'm not looking at anyone in particular because I'm not entirely sure.
I spend a lot of money on my transmogs, and I don't feel bad about it because Belle looks on point 100% of the time.
I enjoy the fact that you do that because, as I've recently discovered, I can make a shit ton of money from people like you. So, thanks, champ. No, but it's true. Like, I honestly, 200% do not understand why people would go out and buy transmogs as opposed to do the blitz runs and just go and farm them yourselves. That being said, thanks for doing it because I'm now making money off you. And to carry on with the transmogs, even the stuff that comes from the salvage yard, if you've got it in your garrison, the amount of those that I've sold in the last week, like the shitty little greens and blues that come from salvage, from the crates, the amount of those that I've sold on the auction house for unbelievably high prices, I don't understand that at all, but I'm all for it. If you people keep buying it, I'll keep putting them up there. And that brings me to the point of the garrison. If you've got alts, get on them all every day, run your garrison missions, farm your herbs, farm your mines, do your professions, like craft all your stuff. And
he's getting into my Belle's bites, and I'm gonna stab him in the face.
Yeah, I know. You do all that stuff, and make sure that you craft it because that is ultimately giving you something to put on the auction house. Or at the very least, you can help out a guildie or another alt or something like that. But getting away from the professions in the garrison so I don't get stabbed. Garrison missions and shipyard missions, like that's the way that it literally takes maybe 5 minutes.
He stole my whole segment. I just want you all to know. Literally, he hijacked my whole segment.
I didn't do shit, lady. I had this written down first. See?
You didn't have it in the official notes, asshole.
Because you locked it, so I couldn't do it.
It only got locked during the show. What a jerk!
Great
It's
minds
okay.
think
I have more to add to it, so go ahead.
But yeah,
the official notes, can't say it.
Mine is.
Eat a bag of Winkies. I know a lot of people aren't keen on add-ons and stuff like that, but like Garrison Mission Manager and add-ons in particular to the missions, like I'm lazy as shit, and I can get on the 1100s, the level 100s that I've got, and literally within 3 minutes, I've done my mission managers, I've done my professions, collected all my garrison resources, sent them all to my bank tune, and I'm done. On to the next character. And the amount of money that is generating is enough to sustain. Like I pay for 2 accounts. I pay for my son's as well as mine out of the money that I make in game. And now I'm having money to go out and buy more stupid things, and I can do it while I'm sober now. I don't have to get drunk first and then panic about, oh shit, I've got 2 days to make 37K so I can buy my monthly time. So if anyone's got any questions or any help they want with it, or like you want to talk some shit out, like get in touch with me, because I'm happy to pass on what I've learned from Miguel in the last week and what I've learned from messing around with the garrison and stuff in particular. Completely ignore anything and everything that Belle says, because she tried to steal my article. So, and that's that.
That was a good bullshit segment.
I have
shit right there.
I do have a question. If you're in Australia and it does cost more for the translation between American dollars to Aussie dollars for the game time token, does that mean it costs more gold, or you make more gold off of it?
That's one thing that really pisses me off, and I'm so glad that they allowed the game tokens to come in, because at one point when the exchange rate dropped really, really badly, I got caught, and it just happened to be on the one day that my subs were up. And in order to pay for another month of WoW, I had to pay $32. When you translate that into a year cost, like that is the kind of thing that nearly puts WoW out of reach for me, because I'm not prepared to pay that kind of money. So having the in-game token. That being said,
how much is it on your server?
Game tokens are region locked. So you've got your North American and then European. At the moment, I think the Oceanic realms are running around the 36, 37K
Well, it's
mark.
the same as us then.
Yeah. When you compare that to some of the Asiatic countries that are paying like 180,000 because of their currency conversions, you get the European servers that are paying upwards of about 70, 80,000, something like that. Don't quote me on it. For the exact same reason. The currency, real life currency, plays havoc on it. But separating it into the different regions was the best thing ever, because there's no way in shit I was going to keep paying $30 a month real life to play.
Awesome.
Peace out, homies.
That was a good segment. So I want you guys to know that we have show notes, right? In these show notes, it's a Google Doc. So I updated my segment after I created the document last week. So my stuff's been in there, added and updated. He didn't update his document. I barely locked the document during the show, okay? It's been a whole week where this has been available, and he stole mine. But the good news is mine is completely different. It is using your garrison, but mine, it's not what he was talking about, which he did give good word on that. But
I believe if you go ahead and look at the timestamp in Skype chat, case in point, I win. Get out.
Maybe he felt like you were going to edit it, because
no.
You have to come up with a new topic on the fly.
No, because mine's actually pretty good. So what brought me to the subject, and my Bell's Bites is always just like something that has been helpful to me that I want to pass on to other people. So I'm going to make this really quick because we're pressing time here. So part of his stuff with professions, that's all great. Now I have 10 level 100s with max garrisons, right?
Nerd.
And hello, 250 wipes on one fucking boss. Okay, thanks, bye.
I have it too. I can't say anything.
So, what I utilize with having my garrisons, now a lot of people don't use the garrisons for much. They just kind of sit there. They just kind of hang out. One of the things that I do with the garrison is I max my resources, right? Because it's really, really easy. You get your trade post, you get your max garrison, you get your garrison cache, you get your missions, which he talked about missions. You also want to do the garrison resource missions. So here's what happens every week when I cap out my 10K resources, which is weekly. Weekly, I already get 10K resources every week on all of my tunes. So what I do is I go to my trade post. I can hear you typing. What I do is go to my trade post and I buy several stacks of 200 of the leather, the sumptuous fur, both different types of ore. I buy several, right? Because you can probably get 8 or 9 stacks for your 10,000 resources that you have on one toon. So I use one toon to buy all my leather, use another toon to buy all my sumptuous fur, use another toon to buy all my stacks of both my ores and all of that. What I do is I send them all to Belle, because Belle's the one that does all my auction house stuff, and I put those items up in the auction house. 2 reasons why this is a good thing. We're nearing the end of the expansion. People are still using this stuff, right? Now is going to be the time for you to take advantage of having your garrison. The second reason is you're not using your garrison resources really for anything. They're just kind of hanging out there. Most of you probably have maxed just by logging in and getting your daily 500, cachet of resources plus your missions, and then maybe any kind of random treasures that you get along the way. So with these, I literally made 30K. 2 days ago by doing all those, adding those. They all sold overnight. I woke up, got logged into the auction house, had 30K, logged in again, had another 10K. So this is across all of my tunes. So it's really taking, a bloke had mentioned a part I wasn't going to talk about. The professions, that's good to do, and it's good to have those because it'll give you additional stuff that you could sell for stacks. But utilizing your max garrison resources and then letting it fill up again and then going through this process again, it's easy money. You don't have to do anything. Literally, all you have to do is go buy the stuff, put it in the auction house, boom, you got your transmog money, boom, you got your game tokens. So for those of you who struggle with making money, bloke got some good word from Miguel on how to make some money. Here's another avenue of something that you can already take advantage of. If you don't have a level 3 garrison, you should get it, because you can put more stuff into your trade post to get your resources, right? You give them, you can get 36 work orders for Gorgon fly traps, and that gives you, when you max out and you do 36 work orders at your trade post to get resources back, you get 1,080 is what you get for your all 36 of those work orders. Then you get your 500 of the cachet plus whatever else you get from your random missions. So this is something that you guys can utilize and do pretty much weekly. And you can literally, in 1 week, you can have enough to buy a token. So make sure you guys are taking advantage of just having those garrisons sit there. It's something that's not time consuming, and you can do that in lieu of making sure you take advantage of what he's telling you to do, which is, do your professions every day and make sure you're mining your huts every day for your leather, all those items that are sellable. And these are things that you can do inherently on your own without having to do a whole lot of work. You just can make like a grind of it. But that's my little, people always ask me how I make so much money in the auction house, and that's how. I always have the leather on our server I sell it for 350 a stack. Just in that alone, I've made almost 5K just in a one sitting of using all my resources on it. So I wouldn't mess so much with the herbs, to be perfectly honest with you. The herbs fluctuate too much in the auction house. When they're over flooded, the herbs are worth shit, and then when there's not enough, they're worth a great amount. The only thing that's consistent I found is the leather, the sumptuous fur, and then the two different types of ore. I wouldn't mess with any of that other stuff if you're going to go ahead and follow this example and do that. So that's my little Belle's Bites. He did attempt. Had I have put more information in there, he probably would have stole that too for his own self.
Guys, family day.
I'm just kidding.
Family.
Just kidding. It's good for us to have several ways of doing things, though. And I think that's good, because this is really maximizing your garrison output while it's there. Because shut up, I'll say it however I want. Cachet, whatever. Everybody says it differently. Tomato,
It's catchy.
potato.
Gosh.
It's catchy.
You say melee, don't you?
I do not say melee. No.
You don't say melee?
No.
Okay, good.
She asked if we like the new guild Tabard. I'm like, what's a Tabard?
I don't even talk like that. So that's my little thing on how you can take advantage of having alts. If you don't have level 3 garrisons on your others because you think it's not important, just do that even for the money, because once Legion starts, all that WOD shit is useless. It's going to be worth no money, so you might as well take advantage. I started at 100K a month ago, and I'm already up to 500K.
That's not entirely true, because the amount of stuff from like vanilla and BC that I still sell and make good money off of.
True, but it won't be
It will
as
just be
fruitful.
really, really slow going and nowhere near as lucrative.
You have a long-term money making, and then
this is good for
And if you
money
need-
and setting your bankroll up.
If you need money lickety split, just hit Storm Shield, jump on a mailbox, and get your slut mug on. That's the easiest way to make
In
the gold.
light of that, before we get to the Week in WoW, which we are going to have time to do, nobody ever talks really in length in their Week in WoW, so it's not like it matters. I want to make sure that everybody is aware that Saturday the 20th at 8 p.m. I'm not getting up at 8 in the morning. 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So this is 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are going to be live, twitch.tv/Pwnecast. It is going to be a special live event testing the waters for us to start the live shows. It's going to be an evening with Pwnecast. So you're going to be, I want everybody to come in there. We're going to be giving away lots of stuff, giving away some codes for some things for the WoW store. Jim's going to donate some pets, some pretty high priced pets. And in addition to that, you're going to be able to log in and chat with us, ask your questions, all the things you wanted to know. Does Hots really wear a thong? What does Lycan do when the wife is not home? How many weird places does Bloke put the bacon? And what does Jim really do in his closet? These are questions that you can answer live.
Do I get to wear my nightie gown?
Barring that not being a total disaster as far as the live show goes, we are going to be starting the official live shows the 27th. It's going to be every Saturday at 8 p.m. So
I feel like we need one of those sporting chants to go like, fans demand it. You know. Yeah. See, you guys demanded it, and now we're trying to deliver.
I feel like we should use our sexy intro since it's the evening with Pwnecast.
If you find yourself strangely
I'm going to wear my nice undies.
So make sure you guys join us this Saturday for our evening with Pwnecast. We are going to talk about a lot of subjects that are important and close to us, and let you guys get to know us a little bit better while me being able to test the water. Why? Because I'm a control freak and want to make sure that when we're doing a live show, we're not diluting the content that we're putting out to our viewers and listeners. I don't know any other way to say it.
She didn't tell you she's not actually hosting it. She finally handed the reins over to me for that one.
I don't believe that was ever discussed. I was told to never admit to anything on the air again because then he gets mad at me. So I'm not committing to anything anymore ever on the internet ever. I'm never.
Let's go Pwnecast.
Fans demanded it.
So with that being said, make sure you guys come and mark out your Saturday at 8 p.m. to come and join us on Twitch for our live show. With that, let's go ahead and get into our weekend WoW. Lycan, what did you do this weekend WoW?
Really not too much. I did all my mount runs. Still haven't gotten back to getting handmaiden yet. But I still have Invincible, so that's always a good thing. And pretty much just garrison missions. I did get one upgrade, did my Mythic Dungeons. I think I'm 7/17 now. Not 14 out of 14 Mythic like our Mythic Raider that we have here, Bloke, but, you know.
Rookies, man.
Still getting there. Slowly but sure. And you know what it was? The whole problem is that other game that Blizzard put out that I was told I wasn't allowed to talk about came out again out of beta. And I've been so hooked on playing another Blizzard game that I'm not allowed to talk about. So
Totally Diablo.
Heroes of the Watch.
No, to be honest, I've been doing my daily stuff, just not too much. I slept through RPGs, and that was it. Been playing Overwatch.
Casual.
I had to get it out.
Bloke, what did you do this weekend, WoW?
Made a shit ton of money. Didn't get any mounts. Flew around on my Lifefinders. Handmaiden. Just the whole time I was flying, I'd be like, he hasn't got this one, and then just keep on flying. But you know that was legit my whole week because I did the same thing. I was off playing Overstone, like that other game.
Overstone.
Well, we're not allowed to say to say the name of the actual game that we were off doing other things.
I was gonna murder you.
It was R&D, man. I spent a few days doing R&D in another Blizzard franchise.
Hots, what did you do this weekend, WoW?
I actually did something a little out of the ordinary, and I was reminded by my girlfriend that noggin fogger elixirs were a thing. So I was like, oh yeah. Went to go get them on my DK, remembered that I'm a Bloodcell Admiral, and I haven't grinded the rep back up. So I'm trying to run my happy ass out of fucking Tanaris while I can't run. Then I was like,
awesome.
I need to hop on my Druid and get these. So I go back and I go get those, and it's like, oh, sweet. So I can be this tiny little bird and, you know, fly around in fly form. I can get on a tiny little moose, tiny invincible, tiny Iron Hoof Destroyer for Black Hand. I'm going to start working on my mount runs and stuff again. It was an interesting week. On top of the wipes, I need something out of the ordinary to kind of keep myself where I want to be because...
Didn't you spend some quality time doing R&D as well?
They didn't do any of this, guys, because if they did this, it would negate who we are as a podcast since we represent World of Warcraft. So ignore everything that's been said in the last 10 minutes.
I would never abandon World of Warcraft.
I totally did do my mounts and totally mocked Lycan while I was flying around doing it.
Jim, what did you do this week in WoW?
Well, I have 2
Give her a hard
weeks
time.
in WoW. I wanted to make it for last episode. I had to go to America. So what happened actually last week? I know we got
America, there's no A in it.
America. So these guys on the show are already famous. I hit celebrity status. I'm a big deal now. I don't know if you guys know this. Jimma Banks, Insane Game James, whatever you want to call me. I'm a trainer. Okay. I've won 1,000 PvP pet battles.
Wow,
Destroyed the competition. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. So that happened last week. This week in WoW, I had the pleasure of gaming with more people in the guild. First time gaming with Bloke. I think we gamed with Dwight. I found out Mythic Dungeons are a thing. I don't know if that's new in WoW. Apparently, you get 300 Valor per Mythic. So did the weekly bonus event for the first time ever because I'm in a guild now and I have people to play with, which is fun. And
Did you enjoy that Mythic Dungeon?
I did. So the last one, Bloke was just lagging out on, and it took a little longer. We waited for him. He felt like we ditched him a little early. We waited a bit.
Bitch dungeons.
But yeah, Mythic Dungeons are awesome. Of course, just some pet battle shenanigans that I normally do. And we had to YOLO some RBGs, actually. I did that last night, and it surprisingly went well. I ran with 3 different pugs and won a game on each of them, 3 in a row. So I was able to complete my weekly. And yeah, I think I'm a monk. Yeah, and like the Mythics actually put me to the test when I was running with Bloke. So the first 2 Mythics, it was like Miguel and Donovan. Miguel and Donovan were just like, interrupt this, do this, everything, was just done, interrupted. Then with Bloke, it's not Bloke's fault, it's not Dwight's fault. We have a 5-man group, but like AoE damage was hitting everybody, and it was really putting me to the test.
It was Bloke's fault, though.
I don't know who to blame who. It could be me.
He once raided an Arctic Crusader gear on Imperator, okay?
In my defense, I do believe there was slightly more discussion about NBA All-Star Weekend than concentrating on what we should and shouldn't be hitting.
Yeah, which came to Canada. Shout out to the NBA and the Toronto Raptors. The dunk contest was amazing, but my week in WoW is over, so Mythics, RBGs, pet battle stuff, NBA.com.
Oh my God, are we sponsored by them? What the fuck?
We will be next week.
We could be. And actually, on topic but off topic, I don't have many snapbacks. I know you make fun of me for the snapback guy, but there was some specific new snapbacks released, and I'm waiting for them to go on sale. So BlizzCon, new snapbacks.
My standard is on a level like from 1 to douche canoe. How many snapbacks do you own? Because the level of douchiness is directly related to how many snapbacks you own. So he's.
But the fans can decide that based on my kind words or how I am.
They know.
Douchebag for snapbacks, or is it kind of a misconstrued?
We gotta get Jim a girlfriend.
Shenanigans.
No, I tried that the last year.
No, he's in the closet. Remember, we had to get him.
Girlfriends are overrated and very expensive.
Overrated. They just get in the way of your gaming. My week in WoW, so the guild was doing Mythic Dungeons because that's one of the things that you can count on us doing every week. And they were like, we need a healer. And I was like, well, I got a healer. I go in on my monk, which is the only healer I really know, right? Because they PvP with her. And I got to tell you, it was great. I healed. The only time people died was G, and it's because he was a hunter, and he was pulling all the things he wasn't supposed to be pulling, and he wasn't even with us for me to be able to heal. But I did good. Nobody died. I panic healed sometimes, so that was funny. But yeah, I went in there on my little teeny tiny monk, and I think we did Mythic Iron Docks. I think was what we did. I don't remember.
Ironically enough, the same one that me and Jim.
Yeah, that's what we did. And I did pretty good. I healed. I was quite ecstatic about the healing of that. And that's pretty much what my week in WoW consisted of, that and doing RBGs and doing my normal guild stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much my week in WoW. But it is that time for us to close out the show. Make sure that you guys go to facebook.com/Pwnecast. Also, make sure you join our Pwnecast group, which you can find that information on the Facebook page. Make sure you also go to pwnecastdailyquest.com and check out what we got going on over there. We are still in the middle of trying to expand out to the other games. I'm just waiting to bring on the crew of people that's going to make that happen.
What game would that be?
We're actually going to be branching out to all the games. So
Heroes of the Storm!
Well, but not for like... It's only going to be for the group.
Woo! Warcraft 3!
It's only going to be for the group and for the PDQ. We're not going to be we're not expanding like the Facebook page itself or anything like that. It's just going to be isolated and it's going to be strictly news. So we just want to be able to give more things to more people.
Feels like we left one game out then.
We probably did. So with that being said, make sure you guys tune in Saturday live at twitch.tv/Ponecast, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Come and get some free shit, because really that's what it's all about. And please come and harass these guys, because fuck if they don't deserve it after this fucking episode shenanigans. You already know it's going to be a bad time the second this is over, just so all of you know. It's going to be a bad time. So we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Before we go, I wanted to show off my little surprise that I picked up at Walmart of all places.
Whoa, is that Warcraft related, ma'am?
It's still nerd related.
Oh!
This guy, hold on.
Oh! Double standards here for the people to see.
First of all, Bloke, what is the action figure that you use every episode that's not WoW related?
He is WoW
Interesting,
related.
right? It's not WoW related.
No, he's a Sabron.
That's the new the new druid model.
I'm so over you
That's
motherfuckers.
Thundercats?
We're going to get
Family
on
Day.
out of here because these guys suck. This guy's got a squirrel on his head. I don't know what's happening, teabagging.
Lord of the Saberons from Spies of Iraq.
I'm getting out of here. We're getting the fuck out of here because there's some bullshit shenanigans going on. There's some weird Thundercat shit going on Bloke's screen. I can't even deal with this. We're going to get on out of here. Make sure you tune in live on Saturday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Twitch.
Didn't say fuck you right now.
We're out of here.
Podcast.
No, that's horseshit because that was completely out of bounds.
Fancy bandit.
What was? What I did?
All of you right now. All of you.
I thought I was on my best behavior. I stayed sober and everything.
The funny thing is, Cody didn't do shit. I know. What did I do?
And with all of them because you guys are all here together.
Alright, I will remember this. I'm going to be accused. I'm going to do it, damn it.
I'm egging all of your houses.
Okay, do it.
If you can throw that far, you should be in the fucking Olympics.
Well, maybe I'm not going to egg your house. I can't egg your house. The wife would be mad at me.